The Press Box presents Cage Side with Christopher James. What happens if you lose, Nick?
Who the hell is Aquaman?
I get Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles, I get sausage biscuits. Maybe you guys will see a little footage of that later on because we got some good stuff.
Pull up the deuces. There you go, baby.
Hey, welcome to Cage Side with Christopher James. Alongside me, as always, my partner in crime, Dion DeLauder. Dion, got a good show today, buddy.
As always, we got a lot of stuff for you fans out there.
Yeah, we're going to be continuing our coverage of the Florida MMA Awards, and dude, I got a great interview. You want to know who?
Who?
Should I tell you?
Tell me.
Should I tell them?
Tell them.
It is the California Kid, Urijah Faber. We got him on the show today, dude. Great interview with that guy, man. I love him. So just stay tuned right here. It's Cage Side with Christopher James, and we'll be right back. Cage Side with Christopher James is brought to you by The Press Box and Eric J. Herman, attorney at law. How you doing? I'm here with the California Kid, the one and only former WEC World Champion Urijah Faber. First of all, Urijah, thanks for taking time to do this with us. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, so what I want to know right now, your opinion, what is the current state of MMA?
I'm excited for the current state of MMA. I think it's in a great spot. We've had some tough default, shows with injuries and things like that, but for the most part, everything's on the up and up. Bigger fights, the stars are getting bigger, the events are getting more coverage. It's on more TV networks and a better understanding of MMA. I'm excited for it.
Now, with the growth of the sport, obviously there are some problems. Judges and referees always seem to be the big thing. So where do you think the sport needs to go to fix the sport better, judges or referees?
I would say that the judges are the big problem. Referees, they do a fairly good job as far as I'm concerned. I know a lot of the refs, especially at the highest level, are doing their best, and I feel like they're keeping the fighters safe and stuff like that. The judges, on the other hand, we need to do some real adjustments there. I mean, people that really understand the ins and outs of our sport is something that needs to happen. Guys that have been punched in the face, know about boxing, know about kickboxing, have competed in wrestling, competed in jiu-jitsu. I mean, it just needs to happen.
I agree 100%. Now, your team, Alpha Male, they've been churning out title contender after title contender after title contender. You haven't got all the gold yet, but what I want to know is, what do you attribute that success to? How do you guys keep getting these guys to be the #1 contenders and fighting for titles?
I think the biggest thing with our guys is being consistent. We create a lifestyle that's healthy and revolves around mixed martial arts, about being the best and not wavering off that. We do a great job of taking technique from a lot of different people and then training consistently, filling in our weaknesses and really taking advantage of our strengths. That's
good stuff. Now, I want to know also, who's your favorite fighter outside of anybody in the Team Alpha camp? Because I think you'd be playing a little favoritism right there.
That's a tough one to say. I've got a lot of guys I really love to watch fight. I think someone that's kind of misunderstood in the sport, but really embodies what mixed martial arts is about, is Nick Diaz. He's a guy that fights with his heart and his soul, and really has devoted his life to getting better at the sport. And I like to see that, and he's someone I respect a lot. That because of the way he carries himself sometimes and where he comes from and how he represents himself, kind of gets a bad rap.
Now, your career, illustrious. You've been the WC World Champion. You've had great fights. You're now in the UFC. Tell me your favorite fight of all time in your whole career and why it stands out to you.
It's a close one. I would say probably the fight. My third fight in was against David Velasquez, and it was the first time I went to decision. It was on an Indian casino. It was before California had legalized MMA, and he was a UFC veteran and had fought Jens Pulver in the UFC, and I was fresh out of college. That was a fun fight. I learned a lot about myself. Then probably Jens Pulver fight, where I actually fought in my home crowd for the first time. Huge promotion behind it, a big arena, and in my hometown. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love that fight. It was one of my favorite fights to watch you. I was like blown away. I was like, because I knew you were fighting a legend in the sport. So, and I knew you were excited to get in there and fight with Jen. So that was my favorite too. So that's good stuff. Now, what's coming up for Urijah Faber now as far as your fight schedule? I know you had an injury. You had a rib injury, and that's recovered up. So what's coming up next?
Yeah, the rib injury was in my last fight against Sanan Barao. He caught me with a great knee in the 2-minute mark of the first round. So it was split in half, and I'm just waiting for the clearance from the doctor now. I've been training. I've been doing a bunch of grappling. I'm not able to spar yet, and twist too much, hitting the bags and stuff. But just waiting to heal that up, get cleared by the doctor, and get my next fight.
Well, that's awesome. Now, before I let you go, I want to know, and the fans out there want to know, how they can keep up with Urijah Faber on Twitter and Facebook.
Twitter and Facebook is just my name, Urijah Faber. Links to all the stuff I'm involved in. Torque1.net is the clothing line that I've been pushing. It's a great new brand. We're going to be doing equipment and stuff like that to try to keep these fighters safe. And Amp Energy always has my back. UrijahFaber.com. You can see a link to all my different sponsors and supporters, and check out our team as well.
Well, thanks a lot for taking the time. I totally appreciate it. Everybody, this is the California Kid, Urijah Faber, former world champion, and I have a feeling there's going to be a championship coming up in this guy's future. I'm Christopher James for Cage Side with Christopher James. Thanks.
Cage Side with Christopher James is brought to you by The Press Box and Eric J. Herman, attorney at law. Walter's Press Box, Tampa's #1 sports bar for over 20 years. The Press Box, Tampa's favorite place to watch the big game and party. We show all the NFL games and every other major sporting event in the world, including MMA. .222 South Dale Mabry Highway, Tampa, Florida.
Come on down and see us at the Press Box.
Do you need a criminal attorney? Call Eric J. Herman, attorney at law. Christopher James here, and here's something else that makes me mad. The judging in MMA. It's absolutely 100% atrocious. There's too many judges out there that don't know what they're doing. They're not qualified. They don't understand the criteria of what an MMA fight really is. The problem is that most of these guys are leftover boxing judges. Now, a boxing judge can sit there and watch an MMA fight and tell you all day about striking, but really only striking with the hands. They're not covering striking with the feet or the elbows or any other part of the body. They only know striking with the hands. So how does that qualify them to be a judge in an MMA fight? Fighters are suffering because of it. Even organizations are suffering because of it, because the wrong guys are winning fights sometimes, or the wrong guy is losing a fight because the judge isn't giving enough credit to the guy that's doing work on the ground or in the clinch. Now, for me, it's got to stop. With referees, at least a lot of the referees you see today have some MMA experience. They've been fighters, they've been trainers, they've been coaches, but the judges, they're all old guys or old women who don't know what the hell is going on in mixed martial arts. It can't happen like that anymore. So for me, the thing in MMA that needs to be fixed the most is judges. So if anybody out there wants to be a judge, get trained, get properly qualified, and then become a judge. Don't just step over from the boxing side of the sport and go, oh, I'm a judge. Because you know what? That's not going to work for me or any other fan anymore. That's what makes me mad.
Hey Chris, I know we're going to talk about the 2012 Florida MMA Awards. I couldn't actually be down there for this one, but I know that you could. I heard you got some great interviews and some great footage. Can't wait to hear about it.
Dion, you're right. I had a great time down there. We got some great interviews, great footage from some of the biggest names in the sport. So let's take a look. The Florida MMA Awards. I'm Christopher James, and I'm here with UFC fighter Mike Brown. Mike, man, good to see you again.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot.
So you're here at the Florida MMA Awards. I talked to you a few weeks ago. What do you think of what's going on in the Florida MMA scene right now with all the recognition, the awards show going on tonight, and you training at American Top Team Coconut Creek? How does it make you feel being a Florida fighter?
Well, this is cool. It's very interesting. It seems like it's going to be a really big turnout of the buzz I've heard about the show, and they're going pretty big with this. And it's happy that a lot of the fighters and coaches and teams are getting recognition within the community that they deserve.
Now, like I said, you're training American Top Team Coconut Creek. You're training with a great bunch of guys out there, and you got some fights coming up here shortly. I know you've been injured for a little bit.
No, I have nothing coming up, man. I'm just I'm sitting back, taking the coach's role at this time, and trying to rehab my neck. I just came off cervical fusion, and I'm just trying to get healthy and try to help some of the younger guys at ATT.
Yeah, now, speaking of American Top Team, you know, one of the things they stress there is camaraderie. It's a family thing there. How does it make you feel to be part of a huge family like that?
Man, it's great. You know, right away when I came there, it was a feeling of I had a boatload of friends and family when I moved down to Florida, and it made the move transition very comfortable. And it's easy, you know. When some people come to Florida, like, I don't like Florida, it's hard to meet people. But when you come to, and you're an athlete, and you move to a team like ATT, it's totally different. You're immediately you have, you know, 20, 30 best friends. You know, like it's like family. It really is, and it makes a move really easy if you're making a transition from a new state, a new life. Makes it very easy.
You know, when you first came to ATT, and like you said, you got 30 brand new best friends. Is there one guy out there at the gym that stands out to you that really brought you into the fold and made you feel like you were there forever?
Well, who does that with most guys is Ricardo Laborio. He's the head coach, and he's the one. He's very like that. He's got a very great personality, very open, and very makes you feel comfortable. Everyone. You know, he's like that. But for me, like, I've really became really good buddies with Brad Pickett. He's one of my best buddies. He's an English fighter, but he comes to live with me for like 8 to 10 weeks before every fight, and we've had a really good bond, and we're good buds and good training partners.
Well, that's awesome. Well, listen, man, I wish you continued success on your road back to the, getting in the octagon, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks very much.
For Mike Brown, you're cage side with Christopher James. I'm standing here with boxing legend, MMA promoter, the one and only Howard Davis Jr. Man, first of all, it's an honor to meet you face to face. I had you on the radio show a couple of years ago, but I didn't get to meet you till now. So how's everything going?
Great. We just had a show 2 nights ago, Friday, and we had our main event was Wagner Rocha against Mike Bruno, and sold out house, and we're doing good. Fight Time Promotions.
That was a great fight. Rocha apparently just went to work on Bruno and just really tore him up, I heard.
You know, I trained Mike Bruno in the past, and he's a tough guy, and I didn't think it was going to happen that way. And but Wagner Rocha is, as I always say about him, he's a magician on the ground. He went from submission to submission to submission, and finally got him.
Yeah. Now, you're one of the guys that I love in the sport because you're a boxing guy.
Yeah.
And you're a boxing guy that understands and gets MMA. So what brought you to MMA from boxing? And, you know, basically you're one of the only guys that really supports it from the other side.
Well, about 10 years ago, you know, I was living in New Jersey, and I was, you know, retired from boxing. I was a computer technician in New Jersey, and we get laid off from time to time, and you get laid off for a couple of days, and then you go to your next site. I get a call to be the striking coach for American Top Team in 2003, so I came down. I was only going to try it out for like maybe 2 weeks, and if it didn't go my way, I was going to head back to New Jersey. But everything went well, and I got to know some of the fighters, and over time, my wife and I went to a show in Orlando, Florida, and my wife just blurted out these 4 words: "We can do this." Nice. And I didn't understand what she was talking about at the time, but I went to go train Chuck Liddell a couple of weeks after that. And when I got back home, she had all the licensing and things to be a promoter in place. So that's when we started, 2010.
So now Fight Time Promotions doing a lot of shows down South Florida, the War Memorial Auditorium, you know, and finally Florida is getting recognized as a hub for MMA. How does that make you feel being part of this?
There's it's a bevy of great fighters down here, I remember when I first came down here in 2003, it wasn't that many. MMA wasn't being talked about. But over time, man, with the UFC, you know, and the fighters down here are fantastic. The talent down here is unbelievable, and and a lot of it's untapped.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's definitely a lot of kids that, nobody knows about, and the great thing about Florida, there's promotions like Fight Time, the XFC, CFA, who are giving these kids, young fighters, the XFC gives young fighters a lot of time on TV, and Fight Time, I understand, is getting ready to get a big TV deal coming up from what I hear. I know you're not going to tell me the information yet because you can't, but I hear big things are happening for you guys.
Well, we start out very, very small. It's a family-run company. My wife and I run the company. We start out very small and very humble. We're still humble, but we're getting there where we want to be. And it takes time. We really want to harness our skills, as a promoter, because neither one of us never promoted before. This is a first for both of us. But so we wanted to harness our skills before we went to something bigger and better. And right now, I think we're ready.
Well, you guys do an outstanding job. Everybody I know that's fought for you has said you guys treat them right, you treat them with respect, and that's what the fighters like to have, an organization that treats them right. And from what I understand, I've never worked with you personally, but you're first-class organization, doing great things for MMA in Florida, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I tell you, I used to be a fighter myself, so I know how it feels to have a good promoter or a bad promoter treating you a certain way. So I made a vow to myself to always respect the fighters.
And that's the way it should be, because the fighters are what puts people in the seats,
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's just a promotion of an empty arena. So
True, true.
Now, you said your wife was the one who said, we can do this. Where's Carla?
She's right behind you.
Come here, Carla.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm bringing you in on this one.
What did I say? What did I do?
No, you didn't do
nothing.
anything. This is Carla Davis. Howard was telling me, when you guys came to an Orlando show, you looked over him, you said 4 words, we can do this.
Yes.
What made you decide that you wanted to become an MMA promoter with your hubby?
Well, my first love has been boxing as well, and most people don't know this, but I managed a couple of professional boxers before I even met my husband here, Howard. So I've always loved boxing. And when he took me to my first MMA show, it was actually a Rich Antonito fight before he got into the UFC. And when I just sat there, I loved the lights, I loved the action, I loved the feeling. The crowd was enthusiastic. It was an energy that I hadn't felt in a long time at an event, and that just got me. And I said to him, and we were dating at the time, he probably thought I was crazy. And we didn't know how to get started, but I had a feeling that this is something we could do. And luckily, he trusted me with it, and the rest is history.
Well, you guys do a great job with Fight Time. Like I was telling Howard, a lot of the fighters I know that have come and fought for you say you guys treat them with respect and you treat them like people rather than just inventory, and they really appreciate that. So, on behalf of everybody in MMA, we appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you. Well, my husband's a professional. We used to be a professional fighter, so and
he'll always be a professional fighter.
He actually does a lot of shadow boxing when we're in the elevators. So.
Guess who I'm
we're a fighters promotion, and we've always said that, and we care about the fighters, and how could we not when, the co-CEO is also a fighter himself. So that's number one. If you don't have the fighters behind you, you don't have anything. So our goal is always to treat them with dignity and respect, and let them feel that Fight Time is a part of their own company as well.
Well, that's awesome. You guys definitely both do a great job. It's a great honor to meet you, Carla, and Howard. Definitely an honor to meet you, man. I remember, seeing your fights when I was a little kid, with my dad and everything. So
you're dating yourself.
I'm 43, man. It's okay, man. I can handle it. So anyway, we're at the Florida MMA Awards. Howard Davis, Carla Davis, Fight Time Promotions. Your cage side with Christopher James. I'm standing here with one of the hottest free agents in MMA, my man, the one and only Alex Poulsen. Alex, man, how's it going, bro?
It's going good. It's going good. Happy to be down here. Happy to be talking to you. Excited to see your show starting soon. Very excited.
Well, you just had a fight a few weeks ago at CFA, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, CFA in Hollywood, Florida. Yeah.
And how'd that turn out? Should I say I know you won, but tell us how it turned out, buddy. Go ahead.
It was really exciting. I came out, we exchanged in the middle for a couple seconds there, and then we went down. I tried to go for a guillotine, his head came in the middle, and he left his arm out, and I grabbed it as quick as I could, and it was amazing. Yeah, finished it with an arm bar, just really happy, and now Florida MMA Awards for the submission category. I'm just really excited. So.
That's right. You've been nominated for Submission of the Year. Yep. How does it make you feel about all the hard work you're putting in and then being recognized, even being nominated, whether you win or lose?
It feels amazing. Just, win or lose, doesn't matter. It just feels amazing to be here, getting these interviews with these, everything just feels amazing. It's great. Yeah, definitely worth the work for sure.
So where are you at right now? What school are you training out of, and how's that all going with you?
I'm an American Top Team in Coconut Creek. Yeah, down just around the corner from here, really, and it goes really good. They push me hard every day. I've improved everywhere. My wrestling, my stand-up, my jiu-jitsu, everything just feels great, you know, and I'm just ready to go next year. I'm trying to get a lot in, so hopefully with XFC as well, that'd be great. You as the announcer, you know, I want to see another video before I start of you training again. That was great. Oh my gosh.
Oh, my training video. Those are my best. That's back in the day when I was training.
Watching that, I think you ought to come and help me out for the next one, because some of that, you know, some of that stand-up looked dangerous. So I definitely need some extra work. You know?
I'll come in and I'll show you some of my skill sets, man. And I won't hurt you, I promise.
Okay,
now,
right, that's what
American Top Team, you're training with there, Ricardo Laborio. You've got guys like Jeff Munson in the gym. You got Hector Lombard in the gym.
Yeah.
Do these guys, you know, being the caliber of MMA stars that they are, really drive you to become that next level fighter?
Yeah. Training with them, just just seeing where they're at and how they help me improve and how they really, you know, pay attention and take care of, you know, me as well, like someone who isn't even at their level, and how they, you know, they'll help me get ready for the fights, you know, and like physically, mentally, everything. Yeah, and there's so many, you know, like so many I could mention. There's so many guys in the UFC, so many guys in Strikeforce, Bellator, like you mentioned Hector Lombard now in the UFC, like I think he's the best at 185, you know. Training with Licious Cara right now, like all that helps me so much, and seeing, you know, where they're at and them, you know, training with me is just amazing, you know. It's great every day.
You know, I've been over to American Top Team. I've seen the school, you know, and one of the things they stress there is camaraderie and teammates. And it feels like a family in there. You know, describe that and what it means to you to be in such, because it's a huge family. I mean, I was there a couple weeks ago, and oh my goodness, man, everybody's just having a great time.
American Top Team is very family oriented. Everyone is there to help you. I had a cut before my fight, my eye. Straight away, they drove me to the hospital, got it stitched up. You know, they really look out for you, you know, and they give so much. And you know, all we have to do is just train, you know, and they offer anything, you know, private lessons whenever you need, private sessions, private this, private that, calling me, come in, you know, do this, do that, and you know, everything I need, they help me, everything I want, they get, and you know, I couldn't be happier anywhere else.
Well, that's awesome. Now, before I let you go, let us know, and everybody at home, how they can keep up with you, you know, what's going on with your fights. You know, do you have your Twitter, your Facebook? Do you have a MySpace?
You had to ask me that, right? I said I wasn't even prepared for that. If I knew...
I know, that's why I threw it out there, man.
I should not have a MySpace. I'll be deleting it in about 3 hours, or maybe on my phone, like right now. But I do have a Facebook. You can add me. And if you follow American Top Team's website, I'm sure they have stuff up there for everyone. And yeah, hopefully I'm looking next year. There's an XFC event. Hopefully I'll be on that. But yeah, just going to be active. Just look me up, Facebook me. Yeah, anything.
Well, Alex, thanks for taking the time to talk with us. I appreciate it. Like I said, one of the hottest free agents in MMA. You know, he's probably going to be signed with the XFC. That's what I heard. Words on the street. I'm just telling you. I don't know. But I got a little exclusive deal with the XFC. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, for Alex Poulsen, your Cage Side with Christopher James.
Cage Side with Christopher James is brought to you by The Press Box and Eric J. Herman, attorney at law.
Walter's Press Box, Tampa's #1 sports bar for over 20 years. The Press Box, Tampa's favorite place to watch the big game and party. We show all the NFL games and every other major sporting event in the world, including MMA. 222 South Dale Mabry Highway, Tampa, Florida.
Come on down and see us at the Press Box.
Do you need a criminal attorney? Call Eric J. Herman, attorney at law. We're here at XFC 21 Night of Champions 2 in Nashville, Tennessee for Cage Side with Christopher James. One incredible card, and we're going to run through it real quick. The night started out, the wild card, Jared Carr, former featherweight champion of the world, came back and let everybody know he is back in the XFC by taking out Keith, the Rockstar Richardson, who's recently signed with the XFC. Right after that, it was an amazing fight. Ricky Rainey and Donnie Wallace. Ricky Rainey came out after his last loss, very disappointing, and he wanted to let the world know that he was here, and he made a mistake in his last fight by dropping his hands. He wasn't going to do that again, and he sure didn't. He came out there and he put it to him. Donnie Wallace, man, he took him out and finished him really quick. Marcus Finch, Dustin West. Marcus Finch came out. He's a beast. Dustin West is kind of at the end of his career right now, and Marcus Finch came out and knocked him out. It was an incredible fight. A little bit controversial, as they say. It should have been declared a no contest. There was a headbutt, but in real time, it's hard for the referee to go in there and say, oh, it was a headbutt, you know, so you have to just go with the decision. I think it's going to be overturned by the Tennessee Commission and called a no contest. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Right after that, the ladies took center stage. Stephanie Egging and Heather Clark, two ladies at strawweight. Stephanie Egging came in and was determined to win this fight. There was a lot of great takedowns and transitions from submissions. Both ladies were working hard. There were triangle attempts, armbar attempts, and they ended up finishing the fight. It went to the cards, and Stephanie Egging won a unanimous decision, 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28. Right after that, we had our co-main event, Ryan the Tank Engine Thomas and Corey Hill. Both guys out of Florida. Ryan trained at American Top Team. Corey Hill trained up in Spring Hill, Florida. A lot of people picked Corey Hill to win this fight, and he was favored, but Ryan Thomas is a seasoned veteran, and Ryan Thomas came out and took it to Corey and tapped him out real quick with an armbar, and it was really amazing. And then, in our main event of the evening, notorious Nick Newell, a congenital amputee who's undefeated going into the night at 8-0, came in against Eric Rap Reynolds, Bellator veteran, fought Eddie Alvarez, real tough guy, and Nick Newell shocked the world, becoming the XFC lightweight champion of the world. For highlights of the show, you can check us out next week on Cage Side with Christopher James, and you can also check out our website for the XFC, officialxfc.com, or you can go to Axis TV's website for immediate highlights. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the report here. We'll have more stories in this. We'll have a great interview with Nick Newell coming up, and thanks for tuning in to Cage Side with Christopher James. We'll see you later. Hey, that's all the time we have for you today here on Cage Side with Christopher James. I had a good time as always. What about you, Dion?
I always have a great time, Chris, man. Did you guys have a great time?
I think they had a great time. We had that good interview with Urijah Faber. We covered the Florida MMA Awards. Always a party here on the show, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
We got some great stuff coming up next week. Should we tell them about it?
Go ahead, let them know.
No, I'm not telling them anything. You guys want to find out what's coming up next week? You just got to tune in. And always remember, you can check in with us at mymmashow.com. Send us an email. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us who you want to see. So, as always, for Dion DeLauder, I'm Christopher James, your Cage Side. What happens if you lose, Nick?
Who the hell is Aquaman?
I get Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles, I get sausage biscuit. Maybe you guys will see a little footage of that later on because we got some good stuff.
Throw up the deuces. There you go, baby.
Cage Side with Christopher James is brought to you by The Press Box and Eric J. Herman, attorney at law.